Hey guys, welcome to my channel. As you can tell by the title below, today I'm going to be talking about growing up with two moms and being raised by two moms. In like the past few months, I've been seeing some videos on YouTube, about being raised by two moms or two same-sex parents, and the videos I saw kind of had like a negative aspect on it. They kind of, well, to me they came across as like they were blaming their parents' sexual orientation based on how they were raised and how that made it a bad experience for them or felt like they lacked something. And so I just wanted to give my perspective today on how I was raised, because that was not the case for me. I didn't feel like I lacked anything. I do understand when you're adopted into a same-sex family and how that would be different from knowing your biological parents. And in my case, I know my biological parents, my mom and my dad. But again, I don't think it's the sexual orientation to blame. It's the parenting itself and how your parents raised you, who they surrounded you with. And I feel like anyone can lack a mother and father figure in their life. If you have a single parent, if you have a single mom, single dad, then you're gonna lack a second parent. And I just wanted to clarify, I am straight. So if you would like to learn more about my story and my perspective and my childhood on being raised with two moms, then let's get into it. I'm gonna talk about the good parts of being raised by two moms, and I'm gonna talk about the bad parts about being raised with two moms, because yes, there are bad parts. I don't have a perfect life. I wasn't raised perfectly in this amazing world. Everyone has their issues when they were younger, but it's a little bit different than other children, I guess. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of backstory. I have a biological dad. My mom and him divorced when I was 3. She hadn't come out yet. She had a very religious family, so she hadn't come out. She married my dad, and she did love him. Like, she was like in love with him, so they got married, and they had me and my sister. And then, like I said, when I was 3, they got divorced. So I don't really remember the divorce that much. It didn't really affect me. And ever since then, I only remember like having Betsy as the second guardian in my house. And Betsy, oh, why did I even say her name without even introducing her? Betsy is my mom's girlfriend, who she's been with for like 14 years. Me and my dad are very close. Like, I visit every year for Massachusetts and stuff, and I always see him, and we're very close. I text him all the time. I was texting him yesterday. We're very close, and I love them equally, him and Betsy. My mom and Betsy, they're not married. They haven't gotten married yet. I don't know why. Ray, you need to get on that. Like, you guys need to get on that if you're watching this. Yeah, they're not married. They consider themselves partners. That's just what they call themselves. I had 2 father figures, or what I saw as father figures. My stepmom, Betsy, and my dad. And I love you both equally if you're watching this, because I know I feel like my dad's gonna watch this. And so I love you both equally. Like, you are the same to me. The only part that's different is Betsy, like, I lived with her, she basically raised me, and you know, I only see my dad a few times a year, but he still supports me, he's still in my life. It's just he's really far away. He lives in Massachusetts, so he can't raise me from all the way up there, but he still supports me and stuff, and we still have a really good relationship. Okay, so now I'm gonna start with the good parts. First of all, so much makeup and clothes eventually, you know. Here and there I'll snag something for my mom. In all seriousness though, I would say that I grew up privileged in a way, and not by like financial means, but just like how I was raised, how my mom how they raised me, and like things we did. Like, I felt like I had a normal and really good childhood. Like, we went on vacations. Betsy taught me how to ride a bike. Every single year, Betsy and my mom would buy us tickets to go to Massachusetts to see my dad and my entire family, because they all live in Massachusetts. We would always go on a family vacation every year, whether it was the summer or like in the winter, like during winter break and stuff. And we would go on cruises. Like, we went to the Bahamas one year, we went to Dominican Republic. We literally did all this stuff. I feel like that's privileged, and in no way like we were rich or anything. My mom's a teacher in Florida, and then Betsy, she served in the military. Another good thing, my mom was really open with a relationship, so I knew when I was little, like when I was in kindergarten and stuff, like I knew what was going on pretty much, because they were open with their relationship, and I didn't think it was weird or anything. The only thing was, I was kind of confused because I saw heterosexuality portrayed everywhere, TV, media, magazines, and that's because at the time it wasn't as out, it wasn't as open. So I was just like confused. I was like, why don't other people have like 2 moms or 2 dads? Like, they are seriously missing out. So yeah, it didn't confuse me. Like, I thought it was weird. Like, I thought I was an outcast or anything. Just like, oh, like this isn't seen anywhere else. Something that made up for that my mom and Betsy did, they surrounded me and my sister by other families who were like us. Like, we went to church and there was a church family and they were very accepting to homosexuality. We were always surrounded by them. It was just when it came to school, like elementary school and stuff, I didn't know anyone. Like, none of my squad had family like that. None of my friends had same-sex parents. They were all like heterosexual and stuff. And I didn't want to tell them because I didn't want their parents brainwashing ideas into their head, like when they would want to come over and stuff, or like telling them that like my family's weird, like it's wrong, we're horrible people or something. Kids are just mean and they'll like bully you for anything, so I just wanted to avoid that. So every time they would come over, my friends would come over, I'd be like, oh, like that's my aunt. So yeah, that was that. Okay, so I didn't tell people until I was like in 8th grade, like the end of my 8th grade year. I had friends who were gay and stuff, and it was a lot more open at that time. So a lot of people were more accepting towards it, and all my friends, like, they were really cool with it. They were like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Never did I lose a friend because of it, none of that. They were just like, oh my god, that's so cool. And like, they had seen her, like, they had seen Betsy like all their life, so like, oh my god, like, she's really cool and stuff. So there was never an issue with it. Okay, so I'm gonna get into the dark and deep stuff now, like the serious shit. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the bad parts now. I wouldn't consider them horrible things, but just things that would happen in a same-sex household. Like when the 4 of us all get our periods at the same time. Bruh. Shit show, bitch. Like, no bueno. In all seriousness though, something difficult that I dealt with was in my sophomore year. I think it was my sophomore year, they separated for quite a bit, and we had like a family talk, and they told me and my sister about it, and I literally went to my room and I was crying for days. I was so devastated because of it, because it was like my family was separating, like everything I knew was falling apart, and you know, like depressing shit. So yeah, that was like divorce for me. She still stayed in our life. She still was very supportive of us. Like, she moved like down the street and stuff, and we would still see her almost every day. And she still supported us and stuff. So yeah, like it was good. It was just, it sucked because like all the memories that we had together, like doing stupid and silly stuff, it was like going away, and I was like, no, like please stay together. Another thing was the intolerance aspect. My mom's side of the family is very religious and stuff, which I mentioned before, like my grandma's very religious, and so when it came to them and seeing them, they were not very accepting. A lot of them are now, like they're more accepting to it, especially like the younger generation, like my cousins and stuff. Their parents, the older generation, not so accepting. My mom lost her best friend of like since childhood when she came out. So whenever I would go to Massachusetts and stuff, my grandma would take me to church. We have a big church family. Every time I would go to church with them, me and my sister, I don't know if it was the same with her, but I always felt different. Like I was treated differently. Like my family would always just kind of, I don't know, like not judge me. Like they wouldn't treat me horribly, like, oh my god, like look at that child from that lesbian woman. It wasn't anything like that. Like they were really sweet and stuff, but I just got a weird vibe from them when I was little. My family has even said stuff to my face. My grandma, for example, one year I was leaving Massachusetts, and then my dad had come to my grandma's house, and he was like saying bye and stuff, and I was like, no, like I don't want to go, because like me and my dad have a really close relationship. He was bawling. I was like, no, like, I don't want to go home, and I'm a kid also, like I don't want to leave my other parent or whatever. So I was just very upset. And then when he left and stuff, I was still crying about it, and I was still really sad about it. And my grandma was literally like, well, if your mom didn't choose her life choices and was with a woman, then you could see him all the time and this wouldn't be an issue, you wouldn't be crying. I'm like, I literally went to the bathroom. I remember this like so vividly. I went to the bathroom and I started crying more, because I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I wasn't crying because I'm like, oh my god, she's so right, like my mom, like why would you do that to me, like take me away from my dad? Like, no, I was crying because of what she said to me, like, and how supportive Betsy has been in my life, and what a role she's played, like what a strong role she's played in my life. I'm just like, are you serious right now? I'm like, okay, I'm happy, I'm leaving, like get me on a plane right now, take me. Like, let's go. And at the time I was young. It wasn't like this was recent. Like I was young and I wasn't used to being like around that intolerance so like out and so like in your face kind of. Everyone's always really nice about it, or they would give me like weird vibes when I would tell them, like my family, or when I would go to church with my family, but they wouldn't like directly say it in my face. Like I didn't know how that felt, and it's like even still to this day she's still like that. She has not changed whatsoever. And I talked to her about it today more openly, because back then like I wasn't trying to get into a fight. Like I didn't really know much about it. I just knew that I had a cool family, and I wasn't at a point where I can like argue about it. I was like 8, 9, or 10, something like that. I was young. One year, and I don't know if my aunt's gonna watch this, but if you do, like, I love you, and nothing personal, but I just want to give an example and how bad like it's made me feel and stuff. So one year I wanted my cousin to come over for the summer, like my really, like literally my best friend Jacinda. She's my cousin, like we're just very close. I wanted her to come for the entire summer, and her mom literally said no. At the time she was with my step uncle, I guess, and I guess he said like he didn't feel comfortable around my mom and a same-sex house, so my cousin wasn't able to come, and that was the reason why. My cousin told me, she was like, oh, like my mom doesn't feel comfortable like with me coming over there because your mom and Betsy. I'm like, are they gonna fucking rape you? Like, what? Like, this doesn't even make sense. I literally got so mad. And I was young, too, at the time. Like, I was still really young. It wasn't like I was 15. No, I was literally, like, 11 when I wanted her to come. I'm like, are you joking? Like, what? Like, this makes no sense, but whatever. And I was so mad for such a long time because of that. And I kind of held a grudge against my aunt for that, but now I know, like, because I talked to my cousin about this recently, and she told me the real stuff behind it, that it was her husband who kind of was the one saying like, no, like, I don't feel comfortable, so she's not going. So I like don't hold a grudge against her at all. Like she's very, very cool, like she's very accepting to my mom and stuff, and I love her so much. Like I go see her all the time, every year. She's always had me and my sister at our house when we went to Massachusetts. So yeah, like I love her so much, and I know it wasn't her, like it wasn't her that was saying that out of like her thoughts and her beliefs and stuff. It was someone else influencing. But yeah, that was another kind of thing that upset me when I was little and that I had to deal with. Just the intolerance, and that was so horrible for like a child to like face that, and like it's not even like the child that's gay, just like the child of the parent who is. And it's not my mom's fault at all. Like, people are just rude. They just are stuck to their beliefs, and they're not accepting at all. And there's literally nothing wrong with it. It was just, like, hard, especially realizing that, because I grew up so amazing in how I was raised. I was taught to freely think, to stand up for what I believe in. My mom didn't brainwash me or anything. She was always like, do whatever you want to do, but whatever, like, there will be consequences if you decide to do something negative. So I was raised really good, and it was like whenever people would say, like, whenever people felt uncomfortable around me or uncomfortable around my family or would say stuff about my mom, it just was like, what is the issue? Like, what is wrong? Because I don't understand. I grew up so amazing. I got to travel all the time when I was little. We went on cruises and all this stuff. I was taught how to ride a bike. Like, we took Christmas photos. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, what is the issue? Because like, 2 women live with me. And let me also bring up another bad thing with my family that happened recently, like a month or 2 ago. I posted something on Facebook. I forgot what it was. It was literally something completely irrelevant of like my mom and like my house and stuff. I think I just posted something political on Facebook, and like one of my mom's cousins like commented, literally just going off on my like family, and so he literally was like, oh, your mom like brainwashed you into thinking these liberal ideas and all this stuff, and of course you're gonna think this way and think this is okay because your mom like forced you to believe that pretty much, and you were surrounded by it. And I'm like, so when like he said that, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, first of all, I haven't seen you in like fucking like 10 years, and second of all, you know nothing about like my childhood. And I would say that's the intolerance is something not a lot of people experience. Not a lot of children experience that, like when people hate your parents just because of who they decide to love. So yeah, that is pretty much it for how I was raised. I mean, there's so many things I could talk about, but I just wanted to not sum it all up, but just talk about it and give my perspective on it. I'm not bashing anyone. I'm just saying, and I guess calling out, like, it's not your parents' sexual orientation to blame, whether it's mom, dad, and dad. It's the parenting itself. Same-sex marriage is a new thing, and it's a new concept, so a lot of people who are just becoming parents, they may not even know how to, like, raise a girl or raise a boy because they're both girls or they're both boys. I just don't think it's the sexual orientation to blame, it's the parenting itself. But at the same time, with the parenting, don't judge it and don't, like, criticize it too much because they might be new at it. They might not know how to raise a girl or how to raise a boy. So I'm thinking about doing a segment with them on my channel called, like, Keeping Up with the Lesbians or something. My mom said that's, like, the stupidest title and that it's so not original. But I think it's funny because, like, keeping up with their Kardashians and, like, keeping up with the lesbians, like, I don't know, it's just different. See, if you guys would be interested in that, let me know in the comments. And I just think it would be really funny and maybe people would enjoy it. And it's different because there's, like, nothing, I haven't seen anything like that on TV or on YouTube or anything, except maybe Modern Family, kind of, but it's not a reality show. That's pretty much it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. I'm definitely going to do videos with them. Yeah, that's pretty much it, and I will talk to you guys later.